looking at a lot of different things. You're trying to make the best decision you can. Limited exposure for me, like seeing him personally or some of our guys. But, you know, when you watch the film and then you saw it translate to what he did in the preseason, again, for him, still a small NFL sample, but saw him, felt he made good decisions, fielded it cleanly. You know, muffs or not, sometimes you see guys fielding them and you're like, he caught it, but it wasn't clean. We play in one of the hardest environments at home with the wind and all that, and that'll be an adjustment for him as well. We saw that even we had that windy game against the Bears in preseason, you know, the ball moving on the guys a little bit. So I don't know if he's seen that part yet. We're going to try to get him prepared as much as we can between now and Arizona. But all that goes into it. He did a really nice job at Central, and then backed it up, you know, again this preseason over there with the Jets. Yeah, I mean, we've obviously gone against Mike. I think everybody in here is very familiar with his career, you know, all the time in the AFC East. And, you know, the thing I always liked about Mike and respected about him was whether he started the game or whether he came in the game, like he came in guns a-blazing, no fear, not just check down Charlie. Like he really did some good things. And I know at times there were people talking out there like, hey, this may be our future starter here with the Jets as they kind of went through some of the quarterbacks. And, you know, we were always like, man, we've got to be ready. The games we played against Mike. And I thought it was a good signing by Miami last year to bring him in and be the backup for Tua. And so, you know, they have another guy in Skylar Thompson who we faced, you know, a couple years ago in the postseason. But Mike, a lot of respect. You can tell he's a very smart guy, processes well, loves the game, tough. I mean, for him to come back in that game, you know, some of the hits he took in that home game here really, you know, I already respected him a lot, but it really raised my level of respect. This guy is out there laying it on the line. We talk about it all the time. We say it, but this guy, you know, had some ribs cracked or I don't know the exact diagnosis, but I'm excited that we were able to get Mike. You never know how it's going to turn out, where guys are going to land. And, you know, we recruited him hard to get him on this P squad. And, you know, Mitch is still working his way back. That may be the next question. Truly unknown yet whether Mitch will be ready to play week 1. So it's great we get Mike in here now, get him up to speed. And, you know, we feel really good that we'll have a good option, you know, or two to back up Josh come week 1. We have not signed him. You know, he cleared waivers, been in contact with him, and could potentially add him. But, you know, he's not here at this point. And so, you know, he's one of the guys that we're talking to and haven't signed him yet. Potentially, though, coming in here to visit and potentially sign.
Brandon, what this you said you don't know yet, but is it out there the possibility that they have to put him on IR and go get a practice squad quarterback? If you have to elevate Mike White in that case.
Yeah.
That's still part of the calculus.
I think, you know, Mitch is getting better. He's improving. We are not there at that point to put him on IR. We want to give him every chance. Now, he hasn't gone through a practice yet, so nothing's off the table. But, you know, we're cautiously optimistic that we won't need to do that. But until he's back out there and show that he can do it and do the job, protect himself, and play the position like he's got to play it, it's an unknown. Joe, man, where do you start? Buffalo Joe. What a story. Cool, really cool story for Joe. You know, I don't know where you start. The guy just shows up, doesn't say a word. And, you know, just, you know, never, you know, there's a saying sometimes, you know, don't count your reps, you know, make every rep you get count. I would say Joe is that. Obviously, he came in here, came to our local day, We invited him back, did well enough there. We invite him back for our rookie camp. And fortunately, at that time, we still needed to sign another linebacker. And so he stood out the most there. And he just, every step of the way, checked the box, kept himself in play, never worried about whether he got 5 reps in practice or 15, depending on when we were healthier to when we faced some injuries there. And, we got thin there with Nick, Balin, obviously losing Matt. And some people are ready for their opportunity and others are not. And I think Joe did everything you could have asked for. He's still a rookie, okay? So I don't want to put him in the Hall of Fame yet, but I think we need to give him credit and kudos. How can you not cheer for him? Like, there's a lot of guys we cheer for that don't make it, so we still have to make the best decision for the Bills. And to this point, he's done what's asked, and he earned the opportunity, to make our initial 53.
How much did the Pittsburgh game? I mean, you took every step of the way, but how much that Pittsburgh game influenced or maybe captured your attention that in making you believe that this was possible on Pep Dinner?
Yeah, well, one of the things in preseason, John, is, who are they going against? Is it threes versus threes versus twos versus ones? And so, you know, Matt goes down. We decide to hold TB out just to be cautious, and, made the decision to put Joe out there and run him with the starters. Let's just see. And nothing else is going to tell us more than putting him with the ones. And first off, it didn't phase him. Sure, he was nervous and, had adrenaline pumping, but it didn't phase him. And he went out there, ran the defense, as to what you would say was really well for a rookie, and made plays in space. That was one of the questions on Joe, is how would he do in space? And you saw a play against Fields, obviously the screen against Jalen Warren, really good block protect, just getting off blocks and using his hands. We talk about all the time, guys using their hands. And I thought he really passed the test that day, and that probably gave us a lot of confidence that this guy is trending up and deserves this opportunity.
Randy, with Matt Milano, his designation to return, can you give us an update on where he is right now and maybe your confidence level that he will at some point be ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, it's so early, Josh. He obviously, tore the bicep and had that repaired, and it's early stages, and so those can range from various times. We have a little bit, but you're not really doing a lot. Like, our people aren't putting their hands doing a lot. You're letting the wound heal and all that. So I think it's right now we're just going to let Matt do his thing. We're going to focus on the guys we got here. And if the medical team tells us as we get into the season, hey, this is trending well, and we think there's a chance, then we'll start planning accordingly. So ultimately what we did was didn't close the door on the season, but, we're not going to sit here and say we're expecting him by this point. I think it's just way too early.
When that injury happened, did you contemplate bringing somebody else in to add to the linebacker room, or what was your confidence level that you have?
First off, I cried when I got that injury, but second of all, the confidence level in the group, yeah, I mean, it's you build your team, and you always tell guys next man up, and you're training every single player. And so right now, as guys move up the spot on the depth chart, you're training the next guy for everything. Maybe a guy was not getting as many special teams reps, now is getting more. Guys playing more in nickel situations, base situations, whatever it is. So no, we have confidence in our group. We need to get healthy. That's been the big thing. Obviously Nick Morrow missed a lot of camp with his stuff. Balin, with his, and so and then we've got 2 rookies in Joe and Eddie, and then obviously TB leading the group. So we got work to do, but we're confident in these guys, confident in the coaches. These guys are getting them as prepared as they can. It's obviously easier to prepare them when they get back on the field. So we're getting them back, and I got no doubt these guys will be ready week one. Yeah, I mean Casey's done it, had a good career so far, even before he got here, and another tough decision there as far as how many you keep at each spot, and um, there's I would say there's more decisions like that than not at different positions that you're deciding, and you're doing special teams, you're doing guys that can go inside and go out. You're just trying to make sure you got enough answers when your starters go down, guys that can play different spots, just all the nuances of the game. Not an easy call though, Matt, to the point of your question, I would say.
Brandon, after the draft, I believe, it was around draft time where you said, judge us on where we are at the start of the season in September. It's not there yet. The full roster isn't entirely settled yet.
Right.
I don't want to use the word comfortable, but where are you as far as your vision of where this roster is and where you thought it might be back in May?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're getting through camp, and we've already had a little bit of adversity with some of the injury stuff. It's hard. We feel confident in the group we have, John. We would have probably loved to maybe play a little bit more of the offense, but circumstances dictated things to be a little different as far as getting Josh in that first group out there a little bit more. But you react the best you can to each situation. Those guys have had a lot of work, and I think Sean and the coach have done a good job of getting them a lot of competitive one-on-one, because once you get in season, you kind of do the ones versus the twos and scout team stuff. So we've tried to make it other competitive periods in practice to give them the best game looks you can. You still got to be smart and, as I said, not lose the race before you get to the race. So, are we going to be a finished product next week? No, but hopefully we can hit the ground fast and have a good start, and then just continue to get better every time. But very confident in our coaches and the players that we have, on this 53 ready to move forward.
Turnover, and then there were a lot of injuries on top of that. So, what's kind of your comfort level just with safety right now? How do you feel on that group?
Yeah, I think we have a good number of guys. Like I like the depth. Similar to the linebackers, we had some setbacks with guys missing most of camp. Notably Mike Edwards and Cole Bishop. So trying to get those guys have been doing everything they can at walkthroughs, meetings, and everything to catch up on mental reps. It's not the same, but DeMar's gotten some extra play time, in year two off of his situation. Taylor Rapp, having him in year two, he seems very comfortable and confident. And then Cam Lewis has been kind of our Swiss Army knife back there, playing all sorts of spots for us, including special teams. So I love the group. Again, like I was saying on offense, I would love for some of those guys to gotten some game experience that they haven't. We'll have to do that on the fly at this point, but love the group. Hopefully we can not have any injury setbacks going forward. Yeah, I think just the feel of the game, especially more of a, it probably varies for different tight ends, Ryan, but I would say, he's definitely more of an F and receiving tight end for us. So I'm going to relate in the receiver world, just feeling how guys are going to play him. Some of the press stuff that he probably didn't face as much in college. I would say he saw some of that last year. He may see some more of that, just working on those releases, what people are trying to do to him, how to get off those. And then just the more comfort in the system, it helps you play faster. You're thinking less. The play comes, the play call, all that stuff just allows you to play a little faster. And so I think you even saw that with Dalton. If you turned on the film early in the season versus what he was doing late. I mean, I thought he was really making some good plays down the stretch for us, including the playoff games against Pittsburgh and KC.
Brandon, how much were you able to truly evaluate the wide receiver group that's new? You admitted they didn't get a lot of run with Josh in the preseason. Now going into the regular season, where do you feel this new group is?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different group, losing Steph and Gabe from last year, but like where they're at, great chemistry, knowledge of the offense. They're all smart. They're interchangeable. I love how they're working together and all that. We've seen more of that in practice than games, as I was alluding to earlier. We have to go prove it. I mean, I can sit here all day and say I'm confident, which I am, but we got to go. We got to go prove it. Talk is cheap at this point.
Building off that, what's been your impression of Keon specifically going through camp and just seeing him kind of get used to the NFL and schedule and all that?
Yeah, just like I was talking about Dalton a minute ago, he's in year one of that of probably some more press. How different, he's going to see a lot more variety of coverages and defense and higher caliber corners. All those things are going to be new to him, and so he's going to learn on the way. But the young man is super competitive. He loves ball. He's not afraid. He's working his tail off. His teammates believe in him. He has fun out there. He's serious. I know he's funny behind the mic and stuff like that, but when he's on the field, you guys have been out there enough. Like, he's working his craft. And kind of what I'd said in the spring, like, there's still going to be some bumps along the road. He's a rookie playing receiver. It's a big jump, and so he'll have some good games. He'll have some plays he wants back, like all players, but especially rookies. But I'm very confident that when his number's called, he'll step up and make the plays for us.
Your reserve offensive lineman, a little younger, but not a whole lot of experience. What went into that?
Well, we had Alec here last year. I think Alex answered the bell every time he's one of those guys. He played tackle in college. We've trained him in here to be center and guard, and I think in an emergency could go out there if disaster struck, like the Miami game a couple years ago in the heat when we were running out of linemen. He's just one of those a little bit Swiss Army knife guys, but he's answered the bell. He brings an edge. Vandemark last year when he came in and played did a good job. I think Grable, did a really nice job in, again, preseason. We'll have to see it, if and when his number's called, this in the regular season. And then Ced Van Pran, I thought he young guy, rookie, played a lot of varsity snaps in the SEC, which shows it's not too big for him. He's still learning all the nuances to our protections. You got to call everything. You're the quarterback of that O-line at center, but confident in those guys and fortunate to get some of the guys back on practice squad that we did. Will Clapp as well, who was a last minute release after we traded for the young man from the Jets.
Brandon, I want to ask about two receivers. One who wasn't here very long, Beane Kane, had a nice game out there on Saturday. Obviously made an impression on you guys to bring him back. And then Justin, who's been here for 2 years, a draft pick of yours, and it appears as though moving on from him. Can you comment on both?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Justin. Like, Justin is a great young man. Obviously, spent most of the year on IR last year. Worked hard. We just couldn't get him to where we needed to when we selected him. We're hopeful that he would be. He had showed a lot of things in college that would not only translate on fourth down, but just a bigger body, possession, red zone type receiver, and just couldn't quite get there in time with the competition. Best man wins, and then Dion, short runway, still getting to know him, so still keeping him around just to be around him a little more and see where that goes. Did a good job in the game the other day. Who did we play? Carolina. Yeah, brains running. Yeah. Heard of him a couple times. Yeah.
What was your evaluation of Gable Steve's?
Gable, man, got better, like a lot better. You're talking about a guy that had never put a helmet on, before late May or early June, whenever that was. Never played organized football, never really did team sports talking to him, but guy just worked his tail off, Tim. Smart. I would say learning the nuances of the game. We talk about instincts and all that. For a lot of times, when you find out guys that took up the game later didn't grow up around it, maybe their instincts are a little further behind. I thought his were pretty good to this point, better than I would have expected. He's an undersized guy, and physics says you wouldn't put him in there, but the wrestler background, the mentality, and it wasn't too big for him. Did some really good things. You know, I'm hopeful that he will stick with this. We wouldn't close the door on bringing him back here at some point. He made that kind of impression.
What is the difference between making the practice squad and not?
Yeah, it's tough. Good competition, I would say. We bring Ely back. Ely's been here for some years. Really good knowledge of the system. Is a run stuffer in there for. That's probably at Gable's size, probably not his number one attribute. And then we went with an undersized guy a little bit in Branson Dean. So Branson just got more experience at this point, but we are definitely not closing the door. And, we talk about these fun stories, Joe Andreessen, Frank Gore, Jim. You go on and on about different stories. And that's another one that probably got lost a little bit in the shuffle of some of these other ones, but to do what he did in the short runway that he had, I was impressed.
What is, speaking of those guys, what is Travis Clayton's injury? How serious is it given the fact that he's on IR?
Yeah, it's a shoulder. He will not be able to return this year. We've been rehabbing it. We were hopeful to get him ready for this last game, but still, he got it early in camp, and it's something that may require surgery. We are been getting second and third opinions on that, but unfortunately had to end his season. But hopeful, did some really good stuff in the spring athletically, and so we're going to continue to work with him and hopeful that next year he'll have a legit shot to help us.
Brandon, did you consider adding a kicker to the practice squad at all?
Not at this point, Jay. I mean, we've looked at all sorts of things. T Bass, I get the question. I do. I understand. If he had a short history here, probably would have. But if you look at his career, I know what's fresh in everybody's mind. I get it. We're all human. What have you done for me lately? And the end of the season, he'd be the first to tell you was not the way it should go or he wanted to go. But we're confident in him. His teammates are confident in him. And, we got him the COVID year 2020. He got no preseason games. It didn't like, I think we just got to relax and give him a chance and remain confident in him. And he knows, I think Sean said it after the game, like he doesn't need Twitter or the fans or whoever like telling him he knows he's his own worst critic. He works like crazy on his craft. Nobody wants it more than him. Nobody's working harder. And again, we're very confident in him. Obviously, he'll have to go out there and do it though.
Brandon, 3 guys from UB, all undrafted. It's kind of been a pipeline here. How much have you been able to maybe find these guys simply because they're so close?
Yeah, it helps. That's the I would say locally, and then just our inside over there, and then also kind of the guys to look at, and the local day that we're allowed to bring. The guys from UB, Syracuse, and used to be Penn State, now it's Pitt, but getting our hands on those guys and just being around them, talking ball. It's more than just a workout. Like we try to get them in the meeting room, spend some time with them, and Cam Lewis is an awesome story. Jamarcus Ingram had bounced around in college, and then obviously the latest and greatest is Joe. So we'd love to keep that pipeline going. I mean, that's those aren't 5-star recruits, and I think it takes all types of people to make a good team. Yeah, you're going to have some 5-stars, but you're going to have the blue collar, overlooked guys, and I'm excited that it's worked out that we do have 3 guys from UB.
Has Kyrie had the kind of summer and spring we were hoping for him to have, and where do you kind of see him at now entering this very important third season?
Yeah, I think Kyra's done a great job. I think the thing I've noticed is he's just relaxed himself. You guys interview him, you may even feel it. Like, we all know you want it too bad. Like, you just want it. You stand over a golf ball and you just want it so bad. And you know what I mean? This guy, the care factor is off the charts with Kyer. And that's been since he was in college to when we got him. And he's done some really good things. I think people look at, well, did he start? Did he not? Because of the first round status. It's just the nature of the beast. But he's made some big plays for us in games. A couple of postseason interceptions. I think he got Mahomes once. Like, he's done some good things in limited play time. It's not all been perfect for him. Some, as we said, some rookie young things, but he definitely had his best camp. I think when he gets beat or has made a mistake, whatever. I think he held on to it a little more in the past. I see him flushing it, moving on, which corner is probably the position you got to do that the most, especially at this level. So very confident in Kyer, whenever his number will be called. We know it's going to happen. Draw straws for it.
I know you said you like the safety room that you have built, but has there been any communication with Micah Hyde where you think stands as far as
Nothing recent. Kind of just seeing where it goes, but love Micah, and we have not closed the door on that. And as far as I understand, I don't think Micah has either, and we'll stay in touch. Love Micah. Yeah, he's eager, doesn't say a lot, head down, just as he says it, yes, sir. Like, he's just kind of he's not going to flinch, I would say, about Dorian. He's just going to show up. You want him to cover, he's going to cover. You want him to run and hit, you want him to run down on the kickoff. Like, that's just kind of his mentality since he's been here, and he's still learning. Young player, his plate's obviously gotten bigger since Matt's injury, as we were discussing earlier, but he's not going to flinch, and I'm excited for the expanded opportunity for him. I know he'd be the last person to want something to happen to Matt, but at the same time knows, hey, it's an opportunity for me to show what I can do and help this team. Thank you. Yeah. What's that?
Why do you get players on the Steelers don't?
They can.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
So
just get like a bonus?
no, like Penn State, we kind of asked to get off them because they were assigned to the Jets, the Giants, the Eagles, all these Tampa Bay Pittsburgh too. So we were never getting these kids because they were going to different.
So I didn't realize that, but Pittsburgh, so it's a quick pick up.